Welcome back to Afternoon Live. Our next guest quit her corporate marketing job without a backup plan and was able to turn her first $300 client project into millions. Here to share her story, we welcome back the host of the Cubicle, the CEO podcast and Mrs. Oregon America 2024, Ellen Yin. It's great to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm so excited to be back.
So Cubicle to CEO, name of your podcast, but it's also your literal story. Take me back to the beginning of the marketing job that you really kind of realized this isn't the answer for me.
I'm a very creative person by nature, so in that particular role, in that industry, it was just a very stifling role in terms of creativity. And so I knew very early into that role that it was not for me. And one thing I learned is that if you know something in your gut, oftentimes that doesn't change just because more time passes. And so I knew that I had to take action quickly. And if you're not growing, then I feel like that also is a very suffocating feeling. And so I wanted to make sure that whatever job or business professional role I was in, that was always evolving and growing.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
I'm not happy where I'm at, but I feel stuck and I'm not sure what to do. So how did you find your next step? And you're not going to get it perfectly right the first time, right?
Totally. And I will say I was very young at the time, and a lot of it was courage mixed with naivete.
Yes.
So I took the leap and I actually quit my corporate job without a backup plan.
Okay.
I'm not advising that for everyone, obviously, but at the time I actually didn't leave to start a business. However, while I was in my job search process for my next role, I ended up connecting with one of my colleagues at the company I had left, and him and his wife owned a family business on the side and knew that I had Instagram marketing skills. So we kind of got together and I said, hey, can I take on this project? Can I help you launch your social presence? It'll give me something to do. It will allow me to practice my skills. They ended up being my first $300 client project.
Wow.
And then from there, I realized, wow, I have a set of skills I can monetize outside of a traditional job structure. Let me lean into this and see if I can go find more clients, if I can grow this business. And I stopped sending out resumes that day. So here we are 6 years later. My business has evolved quite a lot over those 6 years, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
But it can all start with that one job, that one project, and then you just grow from there because those clients said, you did a great job for us. We can pass along the word to other people, and it just kind of snowballs from there.
Yes, exactly. I think oftentimes when people think about starting business, it can feel like a Herculean task because you're thinking so far ahead, when in reality, I think the biggest problem you have to solve in front of you is how can I get my first paying customer or my first paying client? That's the only question you should hyper focus on. And I also believe that because people try to think sometimes too big picture, they get stuck in the ideation phase. But I've realized over my years as an entrepreneur that clarity actually comes from action rather than the planning stages.
So how do you manage, this is always my question for folks who do become their own boss, when you don't have that 9-to-5 structure, how do you manage and balance? Because it's not 9 to 5. When you're in charge, you're always on call. So how do you find the time to shut down and make sure that you're caring for yourself at the same time?
I think it's getting really in tune with your own energy capacity. I think as corporate employees, we're often trained to look at our work days by time. So like, when do you have white space in your calendar, or how long my XYZ tasks take? When as an entrepreneur, you have to get better at measuring your energy. So even when you might have white space on your calendar, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're available or you're at your best capacity to perform a certain task. So I've gotten really good at understanding, okay, I'm not a morning person. And sometimes my brain comes alive at night, and leaning into that natural strength rather than, telling myself, oh, this isn't the way you should structure a work schedule.
Yeah, you have the freedom to find when you're at your best.
Exactly.
Do you find that a lot of young women, I think especially speaking to the social media aspect of it, a lot of people already have these skills and they are not aware of how marketable they are. Do you find a lot of young women that you're encouraging to say, hey, you can go out on your own if you want to, and you're kind of have the blueprint for the success of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has skills and knowledge that they can monetize outside of a traditional job role. Now, whether or not entrepreneurship is the right path for you, I think that's a more complex question. But I do believe that in the age of social media, everyone, regardless of whether you choose to climb the corporate ladder or whether you want to start your own business, we all have a personal brand. Our personal brand is what people say about us when we're not in the room. It's about the equity that we hold and how people perceive us. And so I think all of us can work on building our personal brand regardless of the type of work that we do.
What is your day-to-day like now versus before beginning this journey, going back to those corporate 9-to-5 days? I mean, could you even have told yourself back then that you could be sitting in this seat right now doing all the things you're doing, because you're running businesses, you're speaking to young women and uplifting them and encouraging the next generation of entrepreneurs, you're doing a podcast, and you're also Mrs. Oregon America.
Thank you. It's a full season. I like to say full instead of busy, because it's a choice. But yes, I would say that, it is hard sometimes to manage all of these different things, but I always try to look at life as it is seasons. There are times when you want to prioritize some things over others, and you just have to be diligent in prioritizing what matters most to you.
Yeah, your reality today isn't your reality forever.
Yes, exactly.
And just take advantage of what's here now. Thank you so much. It was great to see you.
It was great to see you, Hannah.
So
Thank
fun
you.
to catch up. We will have more information about Ellen and her podcast, Cubicle to CEO, on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.